Hello and welcome back to the Gibraltar experiment here on the TomFM channel. In this experiment, we've put £1 billion into every single club in Gibraltar and we're just simulating forward, seeing what happens, and hopefully very soon we'll see a Gibraltar side win a Champions League or Europa League. Now this, of course, is part 5 now, which is quite far into the experiment, so if you've missed any of the parts, I'll put a link on the top of the screen right now. You can go back to part 1 and start watching through those, and then you can get back here and we can carry on. If you have seen the previous parts, then welcome back. Hope you're all doing well today. Right, a bit of a recap to start things off then. We saw Mons Calpe win a title in the 2036-37 season for the first time since, well, ever. I think that literally was their first ever title. In this entire experiment, Lincoln Gibraltar have won every single season apart from that one. So 19 titles for Lincoln Gibraltar, 1 for Mons Calpe, of course, with 20 seasons in the future from where we started off in the very, very first episode. Importantly, we have seen Lincoln Gibraltar get to Champions League group stages, which is really good, and actually got to the second knockout round of the Europa League one season, but we've not seen any real progress in Europe from any other club. They've got through a couple of the qualification rounds, but never really got to the group stages at all. So hopefully that changes in today's episode. Slight change to the structure of today's episode. We're going to go 10 seasons in the future, but rather than doing it one by one, we're going to jump 5 years in the future at a time and then sort of review the past 5 years kind of thing. I think it'll just speed things up, especially now we're at this stage of the experiment and we're going quite far in the future in these episodes. It just speeds things up a little bit and keeps you guys a bit more interested, I think. Also makes it a lot easier to follow as well, because if we start doing it season by season, it all gets a little bit complicated. Key things to look out for though, Gibraltar currently the 41st most reputable league in all of Europe, so we need to watch out for that. The Gibraltar national side as well, just as a bit of an aside, we're not really looking at this at all, but it's currently 96th in the world rankings. Obviously, all the money invested into these clubs has had a bit of a knock-on effect on the national side as they move their way up the world rankings into the top 100, which is pretty cool. Anyway, before we get going, just a quick reminder that Football Manager 2020 is around the corner and you can pick it up for less than £30 in my affiliate link down in the description. I partner up with 2Game, get the game really cheap from there, and at the checkout, use the code TomFM and you get an extra 10% off, which takes the whole game down to less than £30. Access to the beta, access to FM Touch as well, I believe, and of course you get the game for a really, really cheap deal. Also, whilst you're down there looking in the description, it would be great if you could like the video and subscribe to the channel as well. That would be absolutely fantastic. Anyway, into the future, on we go. Let's see what happens. And just like that, we are back now 5 years in the future now, 2043, which is pretty cool. We need to find out what's going on in the Gibraltan First Division. Currently, the Mons Calpe manager is insecure, so we'll click on Mons Calpe to get to the Gibraltan First Division. And let's see what's been going on. So, we can't see the league table yet because it's got promotion, relegation things going on there. But we have seen that the Gibraltar First Division has risen over the past 5 years to 27th in competition rankings. And we can also see as well, big change in the league winners. Mons Calpe have won a further 2 titles now as well. So we need to go and have a look and see what's going on there. But this is some good progress, I think, from the Gibraltar leagues. So the first season that we simulated in today's episode, Mons Calpe ended up winning the title from Lincoln Gibraltar, with Gibraltar United and Lynx getting themselves in the top 4 as well. St Joseph's and Europa FC have had a bit of a fall, really. They've dropped out of things a little bit, which is kind of frustrating for those clubs. But Bruno's Magpies are getting themselves up there. So that's the first season. Second one, Lincoln Gibraltar regained their title, and Mons Calpe dropped down to 3rd, actually, behind Gibraltar United, with Lynx maintaining their position in the top 4. They've had a resurgence recently. I think right at the start of the experiment, they got into the top 4 on the odd occasion, but recently, in recent years, they've done very, very well. St Joseph's again and Europa FC also dropping down to 5th and 6th still. Season afterwards, Lincoln Gibraltar win another title, with Lynx coming 2nd this time. So maybe Lynx are going to win a title at some point because they're doing very well for themselves. With Calpe still 3rd and Gibraltar United dropping down to 4th. Europa FC and St Joseph swapping places there. Bruno's Magpies dropping down to 9th as well. A season after that, Mons Calpe come back from a 4th place finish. Was it 4th place? 3rd place finish, and they win the title by 8 points from Lincoln Gibraltar. Lynx 3rd and Gibraltar United 4th. So that top 4 is just pretty much cemented itself now, I reckon. St Joseph's and Europa FC, although missing out on goal difference there, St Joseph's, they've just dropped out of things now. And Bruno's Magpies, my favourite team, just because of the name, have been relegated there. Season afterwards then, the season we've just had, Lincoln Gibraltar win the title with Lynx coming in 2nd, but crucially they get a Champions League place. Now that is impressive. We'll check out the rules in a second. Gibraltar United 3rd, Mons Calpe 4th, Europa FC in 5th with a Europa League spot, St Joseph's in 6th, and then Boca Juniors in 7th place with a Europa League spot. So I presume they must have won the cup. And now we've got 5 places in the league to qualify for the European competitions and 1 place in the Cup, unless one of these teams, of course, has missed out on financial fair play. But I don't think so. I think there must just be 6 places. So let's have a quick look at the rules. What's gone on in the past few years? £4 million. A lot of you guys have mentioned this in the comment section about the prize money, how first place gets £4 million now, and then second place gets 300. They get £4 million less. And a lot of you have said, well, no wonder Lincoln Gibraltar are doing so well because the prize money is so massively disparative. But do remember that we did give them £1 billion. £4 million isn't going to be that much of a difference, I don't think, for these sides. Now, I may have got ahead of myself with the rules as well. I've just looked here at continental qualification. Top team qualifies for the Champions League, and it's still second and third qualifying for the Euro Cup first qualifying round. Right. I feel like that's stopped. I feel like there used to be 4 teams in there. I guess one just automatically goes to the winner of the Cup, maybe, or something like that. But it does say here that St Joseph's and Lincoln Gibraltar have failed their licence, which means they failed financial fair play. So the reason why Links have got Europa... So the reason why Links in second have got Champions League next to their name is because they've taken Lincoln's place, but it doesn't seem to take it away from Lincoln on that table screen, which is a little bit weird, but that's how it works. So Lincoln didn't get it, Links got it instead. Same way as, I think, St Joseph, where do they come? St Joseph's were 6th, so it went to Boca Juniors. That's a bit confusing, isn't it? But either way, Gibraltar haven't got it, but Links have, and then serve these clubs as well. A quick look at transfers then over the past 5 seasons. Obviously, they're all regions now, so we won't recognise any names, but I'm interested in the fees that players are going for, how much money these clubs are spending on players. This season, Montecalpe spent £6.75 million on Jonas Arder from SK Stumgratz, but Lincoln Gibraltar getting rid of a few players, interestingly, not really spending as much money as Montecalpe. The season afterwards, Lincoln Gibraltar spent nearly £6 million on a player from Salzburg. £12 million there spent by... In fact, Lincoln Gibraltar spent a lot of money in the 2040-41 season. £12 million, nearly £13 million to be fair, £12 million and £10 million on the top 3 transfers there. That is some big money. Season afterwards, it's actually St Joseph's and Gibraltar United spending the money this time around, which is very interesting. Lincoln nowhere to be seen in the top transfers, or Montecalpe, to be fair. They're right down here. And then I think this is the season we have just had, £10 million there spent by Links, £10 million also being spent by Lincoln Gibraltar, and £8 million rising to £12 million spent by Gibraltar United. So money is being spent by these clubs. We'll have to look at the end of the episode how much money they've got left. Now then, it's time to look at a few clubs to see how they've got on over the past 5 years with European football. So we'll start off with Lincoln Gibraltar, just because they've been around the top around the entire time. So if we go back a couple of seasons, 5 seasons ago, they started in the Champions League, get through qualification rounds, but end up in the Europa League instead, where I think they did get through the group. I thought they might have been just missed out, but they get through the group because they're down here, play against Leipzig in knockout rounds, but lose the first knockout round, unfortunately. So that's the end of that first season for Lincoln Red Imps. Season afterwards, obviously failed financial fair play because they're not in it, which is a bit of a shame. Season afterwards, though, they get into the group stages of the Europa League once again against a team from Portugal, Copenhagen, and Victoria Pleasant. Looks like they do quite well, actually, and they do. They get through to the first knockout round once again, but this time lose very heavily to Borussia Dortmund. Season afterwards, how have they got on? I think, have we clicked on season afterwards, or are we still on Borussia Dortmund? We're still on Borussia Dortmund. Season afterwards then, get through to the Champions League group stages this time, beating Ajax, losing to Atletico Madrid, losing to Man City, and then losing to Man City again, and Ajax, and Atletico Madrid. So they must have come bottom of their group this time, but at least they're back in the Champions League, which is really positive for Lincoln Red Imps. And then the season we have just had, not the best, because they seem to have lost to Grasshoppers in the Euro Cup 4th place qualifying rounds. On away goals as well, which is quite frustrating. So no real European football there for Red Imps, but they have got to another Champions League group stage. They've got to another Europa League, 2 European knockout stages actually in the Europa League. So decent progress, a bit stagnant maybe, but progress nonetheless. Montecalpe also worth looking at, of course. They're usually in the top 4 as well. So if we go back, again, a few seasons, we can see that they didn't get past the qualifying rounds in that first one. Must have failed financial fair play for this season because they're not in it at all. Season afterwards, only the 4th qualifying round, this time into Villarreal. The season afterwards, no European football. This is a bit disappointing from Montecalpe. Failed their financial fair play at this stage. But then the season afterwards, the season we've just had, they got through to the Euro Cup group stages, which is a good bit of progress. I think this might be the first team we've seen get to the group stages apart from Lincoln Gibraltar. Unfortunately, though, Or maybe not, I don't know. They lose to Galatasaray and draw with Malmo, but then beat Steaua Bucharest twice, beat Galatasaray and draw with Malmo. It was enough to get through, but they end up losing to Lokomotiv Moscow, unfortunately, right at the end there. But that was a good season, actually, of European football. Came very close to getting past Lokomotiv Moscow as well. That could have been very successful. Gibraltar United have always been in the top 4 as well, pretty much from what we've seen. How many times have they failed financial fair play, though? That's going to be the question. This first season that we simulated this time around, only the second qualifying round of the Euro Cup. Fourth qualifying round of the Euro Cup the season afterwards, it lose to Red Star. Only the third qualifying round of the Euro Cup the season afterwards, losing to Leicester City. Second qualifying round the season after that. And then nothing at all in the season we just had. So actually, slightly disappointing from Gibraltar United, in my opinion. They're getting further, but not making the group stages. Links then, how have you lads got on in recent years? If we go back to 2038-39, nothing. Season afterwards, third qualifying round, losing to Zoya. Second qualifying round season after that to Borussia Mönchengladbach. That's a tough draw, to be fair. Brondby in the second qualifying round in the 2041-42 season, and the season we've just had in that third qualifying round. So no real progress from Links. I mean, I say no real progress. They've got themselves in the top 4, and they are an established top 4 side. That's the progress. They just need to make that next step to get into the group stage. I'm being a bit harsh on these sides. I need to stop being so harsh. I guess it's maybe worth looking at Europa FC and St Joseph's, because they will have picked up the extra places when clubs have failed financial fair play. So we'll have a quick look through, but I don't expect to see too much from Europa FC. A first qualifying round there, but lose that. Nothing there. Another first qualifying round and nothing there in the previous season we just had. And then if we look at St Joseph's as well, their schedule pretty quickly. They got to third qualifying round actually in 2038-39, which is good going, but not quite the group stage that we want to see. Season afterwards, nothing. After that, nothing. After that, nothing. And then this previous season, third qualifying round again. So when St Joseph's get there, they've probably had the most consistent qualifying performances out of all the clubs we've looked at so far. They've got to the third qualifying round when they've been there, so they're not a bad side. I mean, in the league, this bit of form shows that they are a bad side, but maybe the framework's already there. Anyway, that's the end of his first 5-year stint, so it's time to go another 5 years in the future and see if we can actually get someone to win something in Europe. And so another 5 years have gone by, and we can see here on the available jobs, the job for Lincoln Gibraltar is currently available, which might tell us something as to how things have gone. Let's click on the Gibraltan First Division, and before we look at the table, it's jumped up to 11th in competition rankings, which is massive. Like that's a very, very good. That's a big jump in 5 years to make as well, to get into the top 11. And then if we look at the past winners, Links have won a title, as have Lincoln, but then the last 3 titles in a row have been St Joseph's. And we literally said like not long ago that they could win a title. They've done very well in Europe. They just need to get things right in the league, and then they'll do it. And clearly they have done 3 titles in a row. Is that as many as Mons Calpe? That's as many as Mons Calpe now as well. Now that's exciting. Now let's look then at the league table over the past 5 seasons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So looking at this season here, league table. This is when Links win the title on goal difference from Lincoln Gibraltar, which is mental. So then Europa FC in third, so they have a big bounce back as well. Mons Calpe fourth, Gibraltar United fifth, but St Joseph's back down in sixth. So St Joseph's do really well within 2 seasons now to win 3 back-to-back titles. So already that is a pretty big step forward. If we go to the season afterwards, then Lincoln Gibraltar regain their title. Links right down to third, and Mons Calpe back up to second. But St Joseph's start their climb back up as they come fifth this season, and then from the next season onwards, this is when St Joseph's start to win the title a couple of times. They win it by 2 points from Lincoln Gibraltar there, as Links drop down to 4th and Europa FC pick up 5th place. And Mons Calpe actually dropping down to 6th. Now that is interesting. If Mons Calpe swap with St Joseph's, let's see what happens next season, where Mons Calpe regain themselves up to 3rd, with St Joseph's winning the title again by 2 points from Lincoln Gibraltar. But the top 5 seems to be, they're pretty much the same. Links have been up there, Gibraltar United are there, and then the season we have just had, Gibraltar United actually dropped down to 6th there. Europa FC win the place for 5th. And St Joseph's, of course, win the title. This time, though, by 7 points. So St Joseph's, no signs of slowing down. The past 5 seasons, then, in transfers, Mons Calpe spending big in that first season there, £13.5 million. But Lincoln actually buying players for over £10 million as well. Season after that, Gibraltar United spend 16 million, rising to 24 million pounds for this guy, Patrick Clement from Bordeaux, who is still there. And actually, he's only 22 years old, so they bought him when he was very young. He must be a bit of a wonder kid. Let's look at his player attributes. 167 potential. It's wonder kid territory, but it's not like the best wonder kids possible. Gibraltar United is still spending the most amount of money. They spend an awful lot of money in the 2045-46 season. Then St. Joseph's make the biggest transfer, bringing in a Brazilian, must be a Brazilian regen. Oh, you love to see some good Brazilian regens there. £10 million spent on him. And then Lynx have actually spent the most money in this past season, spending £18 million and £16 million. Again, is he Brazilian South African, this guy, which is interesting, coming from a Chinese club. But this guy is a Brazilian regen, obviously, goalkeeper. You love to see a good Brazilian regen. So I suppose actually we'll start off with Lincoln Gibraltar and see what happened with them. Obviously they've fallen down the wayside a little bit, not winning a few titles in a few years now, but they must still be a pretty good side in Europe. If we go back to 43-45, nothing in it, of course, because they failed financial fair play. Season after that, group stage of the Europa League, but doesn't look like they got through their group. Not enough wins there, unfortunately. Season afterwards, again, failing financial fair play. This time around, Champions League group stage in the 46-47 season, but they don't seem to get any further. They've finished fourth in their group, so they've not got Europa League afterwards. But Moscow, Porto and Liverpool is a very, very tough group. And then the season we have just had into the Europa League group stage, after qualifying directly for the Champions League Champions playoff. So that's like the very last stage. So we need to look at the rules of the league to see what's happened here with European qualification. But in the group stages, don't progress through the group stages. I thought that might be good enough because they've got a win there, a loss there, a win. They've lost a few and drawn a few, to be fair. So maybe it's not quite good enough, but good showing nonetheless. St. Joseph's then. How have these lads got on in the past few seasons in European football? Nothing in 43-44 or 45. In the Europa League group stages in 45-46, but not progressing further than the group stages. In the group stages again, 46-47, and this time they might have got through actually with win against Copenhagen and Wolfsburg, drawing with Kiev twice, but then beating Wolfsburg and Copenhagen again. That must be through. They are through, but lose to Dinamo in the first knockout round, which really, that should, if they've beaten Wolfsburg and Copenhagen, that should be a winnable game against Dinamo, so they must be kicking themselves for that. And then nothing in this past season, so clearly St. Joseph's are in some financial issues. How much money have they got left? Still 300 million. Oh no, that is still 343 million pounds. So they've still got an awful lot of money, but clearly spending quite a lot of it. Lynx then, how have these lads got on? I really want to see Lynx do well. I want them to do well in this experiment. So if we go back to that 43-44 season, Euro Cup Group A, which is very, very good. And actually, they get through it, all the way through it, and face against Bayer Leverkusen, but lose on aggregate there, unfortunately, in the first knockout round. Again, Euro Cup Group K this time, winning most of their games in that, so they must have got through. This time they play young boys, but lose that one as well. Come on, Lynx. Season afterwards, nothing, because obviously must have failed financial fair play. Euro Cup Group G in the 46-46. I think Lynx have done the best this time around, actually. We've got to be impressed by Lynx. They've done incredibly well. Group G, they get through that, but then lose to Valencia in that first knockout round. And then the season we've just had, fair financial fair play, obviously. How much money have they got left? 417 million. So not actually spent all that much, really, when you consider that they've lasted now 30 years with £1 billion. I mean, that's a lot of money, obviously, but in other experiments where we've done this, they run out of money really quickly. Before we finish then, we'll have a quick look at Mons Calpe, just because I don't think that other clubs will have done particularly well. First season, only the fourth qualifying round of the Europa League. Nothing season afterwards. Champions League, Europa League in the next season then, in Group K, but lose quite a few of their games, unfortunately. So don't get any... Well, they do get further than that. Looking down here, that's quite good. They lose to Angers in the first... Everyone seems to lose in this Euro Cup first knockout round. I think once we've seen Lincoln Gibraltar get past it, but other than that, nothing. Season after that, nothing. And then the season we just had in the Champions League, which is really impressive for Mons Calpe. Champions League. They lose every single game in the Champions League, but at least they're there. So that's now a second side in the Champions League group stages. So this is the real progress that we are seeing. That's got them to 11th in competition rankings. If we look at the rules then, £6 million now for first place, but only £500,000 for second place. That is still crazy. So now this is big. The top team in the league now qualifies for the Champions League group stage. Mental. Team in second goes into third place qualifying round, and then the team in third in the league goes to the Euro Cup group stages, with fourth and fifth also going to qualifying rounds depending on the winner of the Gibraltar Rock Cup. So obviously one of these places will be for the winner of the cup. So that is massive progress. I think we do something. I think obviously we're seeing a lot of financial fair play issues. We're seeing a lot of clubs missing out because of financial fair play, because they are spending a lot of money. They're spending more than they're making. That's why they're failing financial fair play for European competitions. What I think we do is, I think we do one more episode and we go another 10 years in the future, but I'm going to boost the club's money. I'm going to put them back to £1 billion, and hopefully that will do something. I think we could really do something with that. Before we go as well, stadiums. Still only Lincoln have got their own stadium. Everyone else still using the Victoria Stadium, but Lincoln Stadium now 16,000 capacity, which is quite exciting. And the Gibraltar national side are now 68th in world rankings. So again, they're still improving. If we put that extra £1 billion into them, I think we could really see some big growth in the next 10 years. And hopefully we're going to see something happen and they will win a Europa or Champions League. So one more episode to go, 10 more years to go. Hopefully we're going to see the big push that we need. And I think Lynx could be the club to do it. Let me know what you think is going to happen down in the comment section. Again, whilst you're down there, if you're not subscribed around here, please do subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And also drop a like on the video, because that would be absolutely fantastic as well. So thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Goodbye.